Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenington and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Welcome back to spoiler season. We got more cards today. We got some more augment cards. Sadly, still no Victor, but I assume tomorrow we're gonna get Victor. But we got some more augment cards, like I said. Probably paving the way for Victor, so let's get right into it and stop looking at my intro screen here. And here we go. All right, so I'll be honest with you, my first thought with all these cards is I'm not too impressed by any one card. I see possibilities with them, but there's no card that just I look at and I'm like, wow, that looks really OP and strong. I feel like that might get a nerf. Basically, I don't see anything like a Pale Cascade. And whether that's good or bad, that's on you. What I do see is cards that go into decks that currently exist and foundations for future decks. Now, obviously, if you don't know what augment is, in the top right it says it as well. I'll read it. Augment says when you play a created card, get +1/+0. So let's look at the new cards. First off, we have Calculated Creations. It's a 2-mana burst spell that says create a armed gearhead, a Nyandroid, or a ballistic bot in hand. Pretty nice card, I think. From the video that Riot released of them showing some gameplay, it looks like you're able to choose which one. It's not going to be random. It's not going to be you just cast this burst spell and you just get one randomly. You get to choose. So that's good. If it was random, this card would be kind of mediocre. Since you get to choose, it's pretty good. Also, quick note, as you can see under the Nyandroid, Gearhead, and Ballistic Bot, there is a gem under them, so that means they are collectible, so you can put them in your deck without putting in Calculated Creations. So I feel like that means if you say you want Ballistic Bot in your deck, you could just play Ballistic Bot without playing Calculated Creations, so you don't need to waste 2 mana on creating the Ballistic Bot. And I could see that happening in a deck that doesn't really care about Augment, because if you're not actually creating the card off of the creations, you're not getting a created card, so it's not triggering Augment, etc., etc. First off, so let's talk about the 3 cards. Armed Gearhead, I'll be honest with you, I don't think any deck really likes Armed Gearhead. That's like a lot of work. And it's only getting +1/+0, not +0/+1, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of Gearhead. I don't think any deck would actually play Armed Gearhead, at least in Constructed. Like, sure, Quick Attack's cool, so it can attack in and be very aggressive, so like eventually like a 2/1, 3/1, 4/1, and so on and so forth Quick Attack, but again, Go Hard is popular. Vile Feast is a thing. Withering Wail. Just any kind of ping is popular. A Twisted Fate red card. So I think out of these 3 cards, Gearhead's the weakest. Next up, there's Nyandroid. I like Nyandroid. I don't think it's the strongest one here, but I like it. It's got the same exact stats as Ezreal, 3 mana, 1/3. Sure, it's not Ezreal, of course, but thanks to Augment, this card can actually do some damage. I think I really like the 3 health sweet spot because it gets to dodge Avalanche, so I think Nyandroid actually has some potential to be played outside of Augment and Calculated Calculated Creation decks. There we go, that's English. Very, very big fan of the card. Next up, Ballistic Bot. 2 mana, 1/3 also has Augment, so, you know, it'll eventually grow, and maybe you can even use it to trade off for something big. At the round start, create an Ignition in hand, and we can see over there on the right, in the middle, wherever, we can see Ignition. Ignition is a 1 mana slow spell. It has Fleeting as well. I assume that's what the symbol is. I'm pretty sure that means Fleeting. Deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. This card is pretty nice. Getting basically a slow speed warning shot that costs 1 mana every turn already is fine. But here, quickest, like the most obvious deck is Teemo Sejuani, I'd say. And Sejuani in general really likes this card. But the problem is Teemo Sejuani's the only one that really wants this card, because like, what is there, Ash Sejuani? You're not going to cut Noxus for Piltover and Zaun. Now the good news is, for the players who are playing against the Teemo Sejuani decks, this is a slow speed spell, so you could respond to it with something to try and like kill Sejuani, or I guess you could even deny this if you want. But a repeatable ping to the Nexus is very nice for that deck. Also, Gangplank likes repeatable pings to the face. It's why they play, Gangplank decks will play Monkey Idol. Gangplank, outside of, like, go hard decks, isn't really a popular champion. But if you play, like, a weird Bilgewater, Piltover And Zaun list, and you put in Gangplank, by using Ignition, you'll be able to get an uptick for the Gangplank level up every turn. Also, and if you're playing Bilgewater, you might be playing some Plunder cards. Ignition's a great activator for Plunder. I don't know, I like it. I think Ballistic Bot has the most potential out of these 3 creation cards. Also, I think Creations itself is going to really rely on how important is Augment. Like, if Augment's very key to Victor himself, and, like, I don't know, to level him up, it's like you played, like, 6 created cards, or 7, or whatever created cards. Maybe Calculated Creations is good, because, again, all of these cards from Calculated Creations will be a created card, which will trigger Augment. Pretty nice. Next up, we have the Landmark, which I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting Piltover And Zaun to get another Landmark. I believe they are the first region to get more than 1 Landmark now. If you don't know what their other Landmark is, it is University of Piltover, the discard your hand at the end of the turn, or sorry, at the start of the turn, I believe, and get 3 random fleeting cards. It's not that good. Sometimes it sees play as a one-of in discard aggro, and even then I'm not a big fan. This one is called Hex Core Foundry. I also believe it's the first non-epic Landmark 2, which I think has some implications for expeditions. So it says 3 mana, Landmark, round start, all players draw 1. I like the wording of all. First off, I believe it's using the wording all because I think Veteran Investigator also uses the wording all players instead of both players draw 1. But it also implies, in my opinion, it implies, hey, more than 1 or more than 2 player formats. Maybe we'll get like 4 player free for all formats. Maybe we'll get a 2v2 format. They might do it just for like a lab or something. Maybe in the future, like a year or 2 from now, maybe we'll get that as a permanent game mode. I would love to see it. But less about like trying to predict the future and more about this current card. I think this card is bad. I am sorry for everyone who likes it. I think it is bad. People who have played Magic the Gathering might see this card and be reminded of a very popular, very classic Magic card called Howling Mine. Howling Mine, if you didn't play Magic, was pretty much this thing, except it costed 2 mana. And it was like, I can't remember the exact wording, but it basically said 2 mana at the start of the player's turn, draw, like, when a player starts their turn, draw an extra card or something like that. Obviously, it use proper wording and stuff. In Magic, it was kind of a bad card. Sure, there were decks that built around it, but most people said it was a bad card and agreed it was a bad card. And the big reasoning was your opponent, because of the way it was worded, and the same way Hex Core Foundry is worded, is at the start of the round. So your opponent would get the extra card first. Now, because of the way Runeterra is structured, in Legends of Runeterra, both players draw cards at the start of a turn, not just one player draws and the other player doesn't. So you're not running into that problem, but you're still running into the problem of your opponent's getting an extra draw, and while you're getting an extra draw too, your opponent will have priority first. So there's still a little bit of an advantage to be on the other side of this card, but you can also build your deck around this Hex Core Foundry. I mentioned it earlier. Teemo Sejuani kind of likes this deck. Just make your opponent draw more cards to make them draw mushrooms. You would already see some Teemo Sejuani players even play Veteran Investigator for that. You got to be careful though with this. It's a landmark, remember, so landmark removal is always scary. Also, I don't think it's going to be a good thing, but Casino, Twisted Fate, Jinx might play this. Like, Twisted Fate decks in general might play this card. I don't think so, because I think Twisted Fate decks are already good enough at drawing cards, but you play Hex Core Foundry, you play Twisted Fate, you choose blue card from Twisted Fate. You get the card from the blue card, the card from the landmark, and then the card you draw normally for the start of the turn. That's already 3 cards and 3 out of 8 progression towards your TF leveling up. That's pretty good. The issue is, again, we're going back to it's a symmetrical effect, so your opponent's also drawing more cards. That means they're drawing more and more cards, and they're having a better and better chance at drawing into a removal spell for your Twisted Fates. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, of this deck, or sorry, of this card. It's kind of bad in my opinion, but it looks like it'll be fun in memes. Like, you just know you're going to see a lot of people playing this in, like, sorry, not Twisted Fate, Teemo Sejuani. I don't know, like, what this abomination is going to look like. Will you play Hexcore Foundry, Ballistic Bots, maybe Calculated Creations, and Field of Rush in your Teemo Sejuani list? Your deck's starting to get a little too thick, in my opinion. But who knows? I would love to see, like, I don't know, I'd like to see this card be played. It's always been, like, this kind of card I've seen in a lot of different card games besides just Magic, and a lot of people like these kind of cards because, you know, people like drawing cards because they get to play more stuff, etc., etc. So who knows? And now, let's look at our last card. Speaking of landmarks, we now have some landmark removal. We have Aftershock, 4-mana slow spell, deal 3 to anything or destroy a landmark. Quick note, it says anything, not just like a unit or champion or whatever, follower, champion, whatever. So you can go face with this. You can hit the enemy's nexus. I'm a little scared of PNZ Noxus Burn becoming a thing again because Decimate is what? 5 mana slow speed, deal 4 to the nexus. For 1 less mana, you deal 1 less damage, but you get the trade-off of being able to hit anything and being able to deal with landmarks. I still do think this card is bad because let's look at Gotcha. Gotcha is the 4-mana fast spell, deal 3 to a unit. It can't hit face. And if it was drawn that turn, it costs 2 instead of 4, if I remember correctly. That card is also fine, but not amazing. Like, you play it not because you think it's good, but because you're just like, I just need some removal. At the very least, you can play it into, like, if your opponent decides to open attack, you're going to be like, okay, I'll play Gotcha to kill, like, an elusive or something. Here, Aftershock, that's slow speed, spell speed. That's really, really scary. Now, I do think you will play this card, though. I think if a landmark meta becomes popular and your other region that you're playing doesn't have landmark removal, you will play Aftershock, maybe even as a 3-up if landmarks are popular, or if you just want to target a popular deck that is playing landmarks, not necessarily a landmark meta, but, like, let's say Tom Soraka becomes popular again and you want to kill the Star Springs. Here we go, Aftershock. Also, this is complete speculation, by the way, but looking at Aftershock's art, you can see Victor's arm shooting off a beam. So maybe Aftershock will be Victor's champion spell? So maybe? I mean, Calculated Creations could be his champion spell too. Who knows? We don't know. That's complete speculation. But if Aftershock is Victor's champ spell, I think that would be a good step towards making Victor playable because while I think Aftershock is not that great of a card, having it as a champ spell is not bad, really. So yeah, between like 3 Decimates and 3 Aftershocks, that's already, what, 21 burn damage right away, and then you're probably going to play some small, like, units like Legion Saboteur, Grenadier, Demolitionist, etc., for a little extra burn damage in a PNZ Noxus burn deck. So I really do think Burn's getting some scary stuff here. Of course, Boom Crew Rookie is always still a thing. Even though it got nerfed and it's now a 1/3 instead of a 1/4, it's still a scary card. So really, I think, looking at these cards, I think Burn, like the old school PNZ Burn with Noxus, not Pirate Burn, is coming out ahead here. Also, Teemo Sejuani, of course, is also getting some good stuff here. But like I said, both of those decks, not great decks. And that's why I think these cards are not amazing. Like, there's no card here that really just pops up and it's like, wow, I'm scared of that card. Like, I guess I'm scared-ish of Aftershock, but I'm not even that scared of Aftershock. So, that's really it, all I have to say. I like what we have seen here. I feel like if you're a Teemo Sejuani player, one of like the 5 of you guys left, because that deck is not a good deck right now. But I feel like if you are a Teemo Sejuani player, you're probably happy with these revealed cards because you're gonna be like, yeah, Ignition and Hex Core Foundry, let's go. And if you're like if you're a Burn player and you've been grinding that Pirate Burn, you're probably like, yeah, Aftershock, another like copy of Decimate that can hit anything, let's go. So yeah, I think these cards go into decks that, while not amazing, are okay, and they give them nice little boosts in power level and might bring them into the spotlight a little bit more, might make them more playable on a more competitive stage. So again, that's all I have to say for today for these cards. That's all we've seen today. I believe tomorrow we will get Victor, hopefully, because, I mean, like, come on. You've shown all these augment cards. You gotta show Victor next, right? Right, Rito? Anyway, though, like I said, that's gonna be it. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and listening to me ramble and speculate about these cards and the decks they can go in and everything in general. If there's anything you would like to, if you think you might see that I might not see, if you will, whatever. English is hard. As I don't know, maybe you have a deck that you think would be great and you'd love to tell me about it. I would love to hear about it in the comments below. But yeah, hopefully I see you all again soon. That's it. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, though. If you did, please be sure to leave a like or a comment down below. If you guys would like to keep up with the Runeterra comment, of course, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, I stream pretty much every day playing Legends of Runeterra over at my Twitch account, twitch.tv/Zeneton. And yeah, that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed the video again. I've said that like 5 times now. So, yeah, I hope to see you all in the next video. So until then, bye.